What in the entirety of the fuck is going on, my friends? It's me, RΔDE, coming at you with a tutorial. Coming at you. Who says that? Here is the first video in a hopefully series. I've been meaning to do this for a long time of tutorials on just like how to use Ableton, and so just to like clarify, just right off the bat before we even do any of this. I'm not a music theory teacher. I will cover some music theory, like how certain sounds work together, and how the fuck to make chords, and how to write chord progressions, and why do melodies get stuck in my head all the goddamn time? Who knows? But the whole purpose of this is to help you get a grasp of the Ableton Live 9 Suite fucking user interface, so that you can efficiently make music. I will also be uploading some effect racks and stuff like that I've made. And grabbed from other places because we're all pirates in the end, so that you can make music effectively up to what I consider to be a good standard for me. It's a standard that I hold myself to, and it seems to be working for most people. They seem to be pretty happy with the standard that I make my music at. So with that all out of the way, I think we can go ahead and get started. So when you open a new live set, it won't look like this. I have actually changed the new live set, like the template. But what you should end up with, I think, if I remember correctly. All right, Control Shift. This, and I'm on a Windows PC. If you're on Apple, you know, Command is generally the alternative for Control. But honestly, I don't care. So Control-Shift-T to make a new MIDI track. I'm going to do that twice. And then Control-T. The lack of the shift lets me just make audio tracks. And I'm pretty sure this is what you get from the very beginning. Something like this with nothing down here. It should say I'm doing Control-Alt-T now to make a new return track. A return, and then master is probably completely empty. This is probably completely empty. It might actually be return and it might actually be a delay and a reverb, and they'll have a delay and a reverb in there. But I can't be fucked to do all that. So here we go. This is what it should look like. You might be in the sounds folder on the left here, but this is what you should see initially. Is 2 MIDI tracks, 2 audio tracks, your 2 returns. I only have 1 because I don't care, and the master track right here. And everything looks really confusing. First of all, what the hell is going on over here, and why does this happen? Second of all, what is this area right here? Why are these tabs? I understand you're confused. It's okay. So was I. That sounded condescending. I love you. Okay, so I usually, when I've done this in the past, because I've done this on live streams a couple times before, when I've done this in the past, I've made a nice swoop from the top left all the way around back up to the top left, clockwise. So we're going to start up here. You've got, your average, I want to call it a taskbar, but I know that's not right. File, edit, create, view, options, help. All the good things that you can do without it up there in here, just easier to find. Like all of that good stuff, the Control-Alt-T, the Control-Shift-T, Control-T, all that stuff. I could just hit create and do that. And in fact, actually, insert MIDI clip. I've been doing things weird. Anyway, edit, all that good stuff. Duplicate time? What does that mean? You can't delete time. That's a joke. Anyway, so yeah, all your good stuff up here. This is all, of course, assuming that you have stumbled across a copy of Ableton Live 9 Suite, that's unlocked and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? So, up here, we've got the tap tempo, and this is the tempo. Tempos are in beats per minute. That's how many beats fit into a minute. So in 1 minute, 120 beats are going to play. Pretty sure, at least. Time doesn't change, but BPM can. And so you'll see down here, if you look in this view, and I'm moving kind of out of order, but I half just realized this and also can explain this really easily so that you can understand why BPM works the way it works and why everything is visually represented in the way that it is in Ableton. Up here, they want your bars to stay consistent when they visually represent data, MIDI, music, the music data. They want it to stay consistent. They want it to stay consistent so that you can properly understand, like you can look at it and understand what you're looking at. And so what they do is they keep the bars constant, meaning every measure has the same visual length. The BPM will change, and you'll notice that the time down there changes. It dilates with the BPM that you select, but the bars, the bars up here, the measures, I call them bars. Most people call them bars, but I mean they're measures. If that's confusing, there's the clarification. The bars stay the same, and the time code down here changes. And actually, you can click and drag on the time code, and you can click and zoom on the bars, because when you're working with MIDI, it's more important to have those stay the same than the time stay the same. When you change the BPM, the quote-unquote length of the bar, the measure, the physical length that it takes for a bar to be completed changes with the BPM. The time it takes for that to be completed changes. But there are still 4 beats in that bar, as long as it's in 4/4. There are still 4 beats, or 3 beats, or 2 beats, or whatever you have the time signature set to. So no matter what, the bar length, quote-unquote, doesn't change, but the amount of time it takes to complete one does. And so that's why you'll notice when I crank this way up to 999, which you should never do, and if you do, I will hunt you down, you see the time get stretched out so that you complete 25 measures in not even 6 seconds, 0.6 seconds, which is a tad crazy. No, that was 6 seconds. I'm bad at counting. Anyhow, okay, so yeah, tempo, tap tempo, which is like if you got an idea in your head and you just want to like, you're humming along and you're like, bum, 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 na, 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 na. There you go, now you've got the tempo. This is gonna be the best day of my copyrighted music. Alright. This is something called tempo nudge down and up, as you can see shown with the up and down gradient, like visual gradient. I've never used those before. They've never been useful to me. I'm sure they have a purpose when it comes to lining up music so that everything makes sense. Like if you download a music track from offline and you can't get the BPM just right, nudging the tempo up and down might lock it in. But, I don't know. This is your, right here. I'm circling it with my thing, but I am a video editor. I don't know what I'm doing. This right here is your time signature. I'm not going to explain time signatures to you, except that I will say almost all EDM music is written in 4/4. I hear very rarely EDM music written in anything other than 4/4, or sometimes 3/4. Usually, with the ideas you come up with, I'm not going to say that. I never change it. I have once written an EDM piece. In fact, I could probably... let's see. It's in a folder somewhere. I can load it. Hold on. And boom, here we are. Yep. So this is the only thing that I've ever done that's in something other than, casual, loud. Something I had done in anything other than 4/4, and I just realized that I have missing... No, not set folder. Missing files. So I just have Ableton search for them. Because this sounds really empty without the drums that are supposed to be playing right now. But it's casual. Here it goes. So yeah, my ideas usually are all in 4/4, but this one was in 6/8, and I just wanted to do it because I was trying to come up with a cool idea, but I couldn't come up with anything that was cool. So this happened. And then you've got your metronome right here, which is very obvious, and I do not need to explain. Clicking that turns it on and off. It ticks visually. I mean, you can see it. There's also a count in for recording. I have it set at 2 bars, but sometimes we set it at 4. Then you have 2 buttons that I never use. I use the MIDI map edit thing sometimes, but honestly, Control M does the job. This right here has never done anything for me, honestly. Like, I don't know what its purpose is. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to do what right-clicking in this field and clicking on things does. It changes the grid from in like the bars. Like this block right here. I zoom in on it as though I'm not video editing this. This block right here, this is 8 bars. 8 bars long. 8 4 measures long. This is 16. This is 32. I had to think about that math. And so it changes, you know, and this grid helps you line your MIDI tracks and your audio files up on the this is called the arrangement view, but, you know, planner, the stream of consciousness, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. That was lame. All right. Next, you've got your time code, which shows you what measure you're in, what beat, and what sub-beat, I guess, what 8th note. I think it goes down to the 8th note right there. That's the measure, the beat, and the 8th note. You've got your play, pause, record, and overdub, I believe. MIDI arrangement overdub. So if you've like recorded something like chords and you want to add in a melody, but you don't want to like record over the chords and have them disappear, you want to add into the chords, you hit that button and then you're all good. That's the automation overdub. So if you have automation and you want to hold on, I'm gonna loop this. Solid. If you have automation and you want to fucking, I don't know, like add more automation, overdub does the same thing as MIDI. Overdub just means like instead of replacing what you are recording over, you add to it. And this is your automation re-enable. So if I pause the track and I skip to here and I play, and then I add some automation, which I'll explain in a later video, and I don't do that, lol, but I like drop this track all the way down, and actually I could never hear it in the first place. I don't think. Yes, I could. And then I, you know, so I've got, you know, some automation going on here, but then I decide that I want to drop it anyway. It goes gray, this turns orange, and you click that and it re-enables the automation. I just screwed that over. There we go. Cool. So yeah, there's that. Then you've got your loop region, stuff like that. I believe this fades out. I've never used those buttons before. What do those say? Punch out switch. Activate this to activate this to prevent arrangement recording after the punch out point. Oh, I should do that. That's dumb. You can read on that if you want to. I just realized I've been an idiot for a while. I'm gonna go back to a new live set real quick and reset it back to the way it should be. Coolio. Cool, this is close enough. I'm not gonna, you know, do the stuff down here because I don't feel like it. Next, you've got this up here. This is your draw button, which is kind of hard to explain. Let's see. If I were to, oh, well, I can't. Here I can, haha. Okay, so if you've got automation, you've got your automation line here, and you can add dots and stuff and add points, and you can add curves to those by holding Alt, but I only have 2 arms and I'm holding a microphone and a mouse. So, you know, I should get good, right? But if you wanted to instead, for some reason, draw patterns on there, which does not look good or work out very well at all, you can do that. It works according to whatever grid you have set, even if it doesn't subdivide to that grid. Like if you can't see down to that grid, like clearly here, those bars that we're looking at do not break it down into 30-second notes, but I can absolutely draw with a 30-second note resolution. If I turn it off, then you have no grid whatsoever, and you can draw absolutely whatever the censored you want. I don't know why I'm censoring myself now as opposed to every other time I've spoken. Drawing can be triggered by right-clicking and pressing draw mode, which is much to my dismay because sometimes I'll right-click really fast and accidentally click draw mode on. The other way is just by hitting B, which is infinitely simpler to me. But I guess other people disagree. I don't know. So there's that. That's what the draw button is. This is your, I always keep this on. It's your virtual MIDI keyboard. It makes your, let me grab an instrument and drag it on here. It makes your computer keyboard act as a piano. It's a 1-octave piano with like 3 extra keys. A being C. Nice! That was C of octave -1. A being C. And I believe K being the next C, and then it's just like a normal piano. And then you've got C sharp and D, but that's it. That's where it stops. And it says A, W, S, E, D, F, T, G, Y, H, U, J, K, O, L. You get real used to it real fast. If you've ever played the piano before, you get really used to it real fast looking at the keyboard and understanding that it's like a piano. It's really cool, and I love it a lot. It's so helpful, especially when you can't be bothered to set up your MIDI synthesizer if you have one. It's really nice to not have to need it. Then you've got two things that never really mattered to me before. I don't know what the next two boxes are. If you click down here and open this up, it'll tell you everything I'm telling you and more. Look at that. It means something I wouldn't have known. This MIDI thing is the same thing, and this key thing are the same thing as doing Control M or Control K. This is your CPU monitor, and it will be the bane of your existence because you'll never have a good enough PC to do what you want to do. I'm just saying that from experience. I've had like 5 different computers over the course of my musical journey, and I've never had one ever good enough to run some of the projects that I have. It's been a pain in my ass. Right now, apparently, my PC, it's sitting, not doing anything at all. It's, clocking in at a good 2%, so that's good. Clicking on it turns off all the audio ever. And then I broke it. So I won't do any more audio with this video. I'll just record myself over it and stuff like that and play some track underneath this. Boom, music. Check that out. I'm a god. Next to that is your CPU overclock. Well, not overclock, but it's actually, hold on. I forgot the name. It might be overclock. Hard disk overload indicator. Which indicates that you're using too much of your computer. You'll hear it when it gets choppy, like real bad choppy. It's crazy. One of these is a MIDI out and MIDI in indicator that shows you that MIDI input and output are happening. All right, we've moved in a circle. We're moving on to these two buttons right here. What is this? Whoa! Hitting tab does the same thing. All right, this is called your arrangement view, as I've mentioned before. It shows you where you arrange your MIDI clips in a logical fashion in order to play music from left to right as though you were reading. Isn't that crazy? And then this is your, well, fuck, I forgot what it's actually called. Mixer view? Nah, session view, whatever that means. It's the mixer. It has all of the levels, the panning, it's basically, if you're looking at a mixer board, if you are aware of what that is, it's basically looking at a mixer board visually, or virtually, and it also has all your MIDI clips and audio clips that you could store in here, but I personally don't ever use them, and in my tutorials later you'll see I only ever use this so that I can double click here, make a new MIDI clip, and then drag it into the session, because I'm lazy and didn't know that you could apparently just, what was it? Control Shift M. Like, no, that doesn't do that. So yeah, no, I'm doing it right. Ha! I didn't lie to myself. Alright, down here, these buttons on the bottom right, they change depending on whether or not you're in the session view or the arrangement view. But in the arrangement view, they change, but you don't lose anything important in between them. Like here, you've got sends and your returns and your master. Over here, your sends are coupled with the master. Sorry, no. Oh no, that's yeah, the master. Your sends are coupled with the master. So like this is how you send audio to this return right here. Sending from this track to the return. Send return. Makes sense. And just like hitting the master button right here toggles it all. It just lumps like these 3 buttons all into one. It's very interesting. And then you've got track delays, which I only really use when I'm dealing with MIDI feedback. And crossfading. I don't know. Ableton isn't a DJing software. I mean, it is like if you're gonna play like live sets, I guess, but there are other programs that are better fitted for that. This is a digital audio workstation, so really you can do whatever you want in it as long as it's audio related. But to me, audio workstation means, workstation, where you make things. So then, in this, I guess maybe I'll go into this later. I don't know. I hate the session view. I don't use it ever. I use the arrangement view always because you can get everything done here and never have to do anything. All automation is done here anyway. So, there's no point in looking in here. You can't automate things inside the clips. They have to be done on the track, so there's no point in staying here, in my opinion. You can jot down ideas, like you can jot down notes and stuff and save them in MIDI clips and stuff like that, and they'll be there for you, like you were there before. But there's no point in staying in this view, to me. Do as you like. But, I'm biased. I'm going to teach you how I do it, and you can decide for yourself what you think is best. Then, down here, this bottom part, right? You've got this thing, which closes and opens the bottom part. I only ever close it if I've got too many tracks here, and I can't make a new one or something, or I can't drag an instrument out, so I just close it real quick, drag an instrument out, and then pop it back open. This right here, this little one MIDI, shows you everything on the track. Right now, it's empty, but if I drag an instrument onto it, boom, now it's got an instrument. And if I go to audio effects, boom, now it's got an audio effect. Boom, now it's got 2 audio effects. Whoa! Isn't that neat? Then, you go over here, and you make a MIDI clip, and you're going to realize why it said no clip selected beforehand, because now there's a clip selected. Wow! You can't really drag this up or down when it's not in the clip view, but when it's in the clip view, you can drag it way the hell up. But you're going to get annoyed, because you're going to do that, and then forget that you did that and click away from it, and then you're going to do a whole bunch of stuff, and then accidentally click up here and go here, and then it's going to open up, and you're going to be confused as fuck. So, just resize your piano roll. It's that simple. Click here, drag left and right. Woohoo! This is your instrument, your track settings shit. It has your instruments or your music, depending on if it's a MIDI or audio thing. The biggest thing here is the clip. The clip thing. The clippy thing. Fuck. The clip stuff. Here, you've got what's called the piano roll, because it's a piano, and I don't know why it's called a roll, but I'm going to assume it's because it rolls from left to right. Whoa! Right now, its length is 1 bar, so it has 4 beats, and if we turn on the metronome and we watch the thing scroll across, we can't because I fucked everything over, but you would see that it would slide across each one of these major tick marks right here where the color changes. And in fact, if I switch it to this, now you only see these tick marks. It would switch across and it would hit every beat because those are the beats. Wow! Crazy, right? And then in here, it's looping. It's looping all of that 8 times, but that's neither here nor there. The piano roll, I mean, it's kind of obvious. It is a piano. It has all of the notes that you will ever need, and you can make chords. Like, here's a C, and then if we just control and then paste it, here's an E, and I can't play this for you because I screwed the audio over, but look at that. It's a C major chord, C, E, G. Wowie! There's your first lesson in music theory, C major chord. Yeah, it contains all of the notes that you will need, obviously. I'm not sure what else to say on that. You can divide it into anywhere from 8ths to 1/32, or if you really need to get in there for some stupid reason, you can change it to the adaptive grid, which will adapt it to the narrowest or widest that it can, depending on your zoom level. This note doesn't even have a number attached to it. It's just short. I don't even know how to explain that. It has basically 0 time, and if I played it for you, you wouldn't hear anything. Isn't that crazy? So yeah, that's how that works. You can divide it however you want to. There are a whole bunch of tools over here that I never used, and then I started using. If you have a melody, and you're not sure how you feel about it, it's not bad, but it's kind of getting repetitive. Check this out. You can reverse it, or you can flip it upside down. You can shorten it or elongate it. Those tools have been there the whole time, and I've been doing this for 5 years, and I didn't realize that, and they are hella useful. You would not believe how useful and inspiring it is to just flip a melody that you know, or a melody that you've been using in a song when you feel like it's getting stale. It helps a lot. So that covers this bottom half. There is this little arrow down here which opens the info view, which is super fucking helpful because I can't cover everything. I don't know what everything is. Like this right here, the groove pool. Fuck this thing. I've never used this in my entire life. It's stupid in my opinion. I've grooves. I don't know what that means. And then this is your file manager. You've got your categories of Ableton related shit that it automatically sorts for you, and then everything else that you have to sort yourself. I have a folder in my documents called the samples folder, is where I keep all of my shit. Then you'll see it in the documents folder that I have added from add folder. Samples is right here. It's the same goddamn exact thing, except I don't have to open up a folder. It just opens for me right here, which is great. It's super useful. These are all of my 100,000 samples that I have stolen from the internet or bought from several different places. You know, the usual stuff. All of my acapellas, all of my Nintendo 64 sounds, every Undertale sound that was ever put in the game, the Wii Super Mario Smash Bros. Super Smash Bros. Brawl Link sounds, which I cannot preview for you because I screwed up, and everything else in between. All in the samples folder, which I highly recommend you do, by the way, is make a samples folder. Stay organized. Music can get messy. You've got the current project, audio files and MIDI files that are stored within the current project. Your user library, which is things that you can save. Like if you save a preset or something, it would go here. I have presets. You open your presets folder. You go to your audio effects. Well, this is where I have them. Audio effect rack. Boom. These are nice. 2 of these I made, and 1 of them I stole from the internet and changed. So technically, it's mine. Right? That's how that works. Yeah, okay, so the places and then the packs. You can install packs. I'm not giving them to you. Find them on your own. Or buy them. I mean, I bought them. That's not going in the final cut. So up here you've got your sounds. It's where they keep, instead of letting you like access the, well, you can access the instruments. I mean, if you have the Ableton Live 9 Suite version, you have these nice, beautiful instruments, and they play music all the time. It's what they do. But if you're lazy and don't want to make things for yourself, you can go to sounds and find everything that you need that doesn't sound like the real thing. For real, I'm not even joking. Can't play them for you anymore. But if you go through here and you listen to these brass things, they don't sound like brass. They don't sound like trumpets, and they're not supposed to. They're made with virtual instruments. If you wanted it to sound real, you'd get samples or you'd do it yourself. They're just showing you more or less how you can use the VSTs, is what they're called. How you can use them to their potential. Not even to their full potential. So you've got your sounds. You've got drum samples that come along with Ableton. It's really cool. These are the drum kits, and then you've also got your samples. You've got instruments, which I just showed you, audio effects, and MIDI effects. These are 2 different things. Ableton processes your MIDI files very specifically in one specific direction, left to right. So as it travels across the timeline, it picks up information from your clip that you put on the arrangement view, and it sends it to the far left of this thing right here. I'm visualizing this for you because this isn't what it actually does. It's all programming, but I'm visualizing this for you. It goes all the way to here, and you'll notice if I drop an instrument on it, it would just go into the instrument. But MIDI effects do something different. When you, if I drag them on here, it goes immediately to the left because it affects the MIDI information before it enters the instrument. Does that make sense? I say as though I'm talking to someone else. It goes in and it affects the MIDI information before it enters the instrument, and then the instrument produces the sound, which then can be changed by audio effects, which go on the right. It's a very streamlined process. It makes sense. It's all linear. There's nothing crazy about it. MIDI effects always go on the left. Audio effects go on the right. You can't even try to put them anywhere else. Just don't get them confused. Don't accidentally go looking for MIDI effects in the audio effects like I did when I was real young. Max for Live, I don't use it. Plugins, you can download them yourself. I have a whole bunch. Isn't that great? They're just VSTs. They're instruments just like these, except they go in the plugins folder, and I guess I'll show you how to do that later. Clips, I only just found out about and have been using them. Specifically Clapping Flamenco, which I cannot show you, but it's in one of the songs on my albums. And then you've got samples. And that's that. That's everything. That's literally all the entire interface. This is your zoomy thing. You click on the rectangle, you pull down to zoom in, push up to zoom out, left and right to do that. Sometimes it inverts for some stupid reason and I don't know why and it bothers me, but you know, otherwise it works just fine. But that's everything. I mean, that's just everything. To specify on the tracks, I'll show you what you've got on the tracks. You've got the name, what automation you're currently viewing, like what group and what automation you're viewing inside of that group. Then over here, you've got your track level, the level, which should always be kept at 0 personally. I used to change the track level, but I will show you, you'll see, I never change the track level. I always just keep it at 0. Your panning, which can be either left or right, I say as I push them in the opposite direction. Your soloing, which means that everything else will shut the hell up while you listen to this one thing for a little bit. Your record arm, which means that you prepare the track to be recorded to. And your send, which I explained earlier, goes to the return. And that's basically all there is to know about the interface. From here on, I'll be clarifying as I go, but otherwise I'll just start showing you how the music process is going to work. I'll give you tips on how you should manage your workflow and how you can make music, basically. Again, I'm not going to give you ideas. We can make a sample song together. I think that'd actually be a good idea. You know how like programmers or artists or 3D modelers or whatever, they all like, here, let's make this sample product together. So maybe we'll do that. We'll create a song. You can change it however you want to. Yeah, I think I'll do that. We'll plan that out. Maybe we'll just recreate a song that I made a while back. I'm getting ideas as we speak. So yeah, we'll go through that, and we'll learn how the music workflow can be best made efficient. But really, it does all just come down to you. What makes sense to you. When you get an idea in the middle of the night at like 4 in the morning, which has happened so many times, and you just have to jot it down, and you do, and then you get really fucking confused because you're like, well, what the hell? I just wrote the middle of the song, but how do I write the beginning and end? I can help you with, like, in my own way that I do it myself. I can show you how I do it. That is the best way to put it. But yeah, that's all for now. This has been 40 fucking minutes of recording that I'm gonna chop down into 10, maybe 15. But thank you for watching. This will be a series. I'll try to do them as frequently as possible, but man, I have a job in school, and those get in the way a lot. So be patient, please. I'm doing my best. I swear to God. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Be sure to check out my SoundCloud here, and my YouTube, which you're already on, so I won't draw a box for that. I've got a new release coming out. It looks kind of like that, and I think that's about it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.